How are we all doing on this fine Friday? I can't believe it's Friday already. Time is shooting by. Vesper's here. What are we expecting? Cathay, more Cathay, Bromo Sapien. Yep, there's a lot of Cathay, but there's a lot of other stuff as well. Floaty boaties. There are indeed floaty boaties. And there is indeed Skaven Big Ives. Your Skaven, in fact. Oh, we hit a nice amount where we were over cap. So I do try and bring 15 lists to affix my list stream. That feels like the right number. There were 17, but... No, 18? There were 18, but 3 people had their lists looked at last week, so that ended up working out quite nicely. So if you didn't have your list looked at last week, your list should be coming up this evening. Another 3 models painted today. Excellent stuff. What did you paint today? Bromo Sapien missed a week or 2, made it finally. Yeah, me too. A couple of weeks ago. I'm back. Oh no, has my camera died? God damn it. That's annoying. I need to work something out. Oh, right. Apologies. You're gonna hear some. In fact, hold on. I can just mute system sounds. Then you don't have to listen to it. Well, let me plug in the other camera, the better camera, but the one that takes actual setup. Yeah, hopefully you should still be able to hear me, even if you can't see me currently. And I will get that resolved forthwith. Vesper says, remember to press the like button. You don't get paid a commission, but maybe you will one day. I had to send an email to... No, I'll not say that. It's too easy to narrow down. And I don't feel salty about it. I'm sure it's just a logistics issue. Okay. That's an unfortunate frozen image. Yeah, I know, man. It's not my worst angle, but it's not my best, that's for sure. Okie dokie. What have we got in the background there? Oh! Right, that's not a good angle. Let me... God damn it, let me fix this. So if I do this, and then I do... Okay, that needs tightening. As you can hear but not see, I've got a complicated camera arm setup going here. So if I do this, hopefully... what if I turn it more this way? Okay, that is going to have to do, hopefully. It's not a good angle, but we're just going to live with it. So let's turn that off for now. Man, there's always something, isn't there? There's always something. Could be a bacon bunny. Oh, I'd go for a bacon bunny. Actually, I wouldn't go for a bacon bunny. I had Chinese for dinner. I've been eating well for the last couple of weeks, and I decided, you know what, I deserve... Well, not deserve, but I fancy a takeaway, and I don't feel bad about having one. And now I regret it. I just feel too full. I got loads of leftovers for tomorrow, but the problem with Chinese food from a takeaway is it's really, really oily. Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, you can just see some... Oh! Let's try that one again. Come on. Come on, camera. You can manage this. Treat yourself. Yeah, that's the thinking. Occasional treats make it easier to stay on focus. What is wrong with this, with Streamlabs? It is taking the piss. This is, oh, there we go, that's my face. Right. For some reason, Streamlabs is absolutely fuming at the idea. Oh. Oh man, I think we may be cameraless today. That is unfortunate because even the second camera doesn't want to work. All right, well, let's get that shit out of the way. Even better now. I know. What a fucking palaver, eh? What an absolute palaver. Now it's a picture of soup. My favourite soup, the old world. You know what? Let's just go. Let's make a copy of this. I feel wrong not having some sort of representation of myself in that top right corner, so I'm gonna go and tweak one of my thumbnails so I can just oops, I've deleted the one thing I wanted. Let's do that. Let's flip it. And then transparent background. Oh, it's a good job. I normally waffle for a bit in the first moments of the stream, isn't it? What's everyone been up to? Well, I'm sorting this in the back end. Anything exciting you've all been up to this week? My week has just flown by. Like, I'm not really sure what happened to it. Working, yeah. I mean, me too, but not in an exciting way. Look at that. I'm just going to sit in that corner. There we are. Oh, man. Okay, that'll do. That will do. Can I put text in as well? Let's, Lots of people doing work, or doing as little work as possible, or too much work. Need to stop fucking typing with capitals for every word. It's not a YouTube thumbnail, you know? Oh, I don't really like that. One of the many things that I dislike about Streamlabs. I might have to stop using Streamlabs, honestly. Everything just snaps into place, but in a really frustrating way. There we go. That'll do. That will do. Building some Maiden Guard during lunch today. I don't know that I know what Maiden Guard are. Big Eyes has been working on their app. Very good. A Safari painting model for a local painting competition. Nice. Nice. Cool. Alright, well, I reckon let's start off with the most recent name that I've seen on the screen. And we should have a look at some of these lists to be fixed, because that is why we're here after all. So, the question becomes, Broma Sapien, was there any text to go with this one? I think there was, if I remember correctly. I think incorrectly. Nope, I'm looking at the wrong one. Everything's falling apart here. Even my Discord doesn't want to work. Maiden Guard, the OG name for Sister Babylon. Ah, how OG are we talking? Are we talking 90s? 2000s? I don't remember them, but that doesn't really mean much. I was a lot less plugged into fantasy when I was growing up. Wheels are coming off the wagon. Yeah! How dare you, sir? implying that this wagon never had wheels. You know what? If there was text with it, I'm sure it wasn't important because I can't find it. And you're here to explain yourself if needs be. So we've got a Tracian Huntsman list, Tracian Warhost list. Got a Corhill on Chariot, good stuff. Got a Chieftain on Chariot with a Seed of Rebirth, Great Blade, no other upgrades. Got that twice. Archmage as well. Great Blade, level 3. Battle Magic, Lore Familiar, Seed of Rebirth. I like that. I'd like to see a Power Scroll in there. Like, one turn is going to be really important that you get the Arcane Urgency off, or the Oaken Shield. You know, there'll be a spell that's really important to cast. Then you've got double Bolt Thrower, double Eagle. No dragons is the text. Ah, lovely stuff. Okay. And then we've got White Lions, Woodsmen, and Woodsman Archers. So, this is, like, not bad as a concept, but I think there's some tweaks I'd like to make here. So the tweaks are, these are fine. I don't actually hate the Bolt Throwers. I don't think the Eagles need to be in. I think we can drop the Eagles in favour of putting more points into core, and I think that's probably just better. You've spent points to give them Lion Cloak, and technically it is 2 points cheaper, but Light Armour, if you want to go for something, I guess is slightly more effective because it works against everything, right? 10 Woodsmen lose scoring ability so quickly. Yeah, exactly. So what I want to do is, I like the equipment you've gone for. Warbows, Lineguard, Vanguard, Heavy Armour, Great Blades, good stuff here. Let's go up to 14s. 14s or 15s feel pretty good, in my opinion. And then we've got the White Lions. 20 is fine. It's not bad. I don't know that I'd bother with Rampaging Banner. Rampaging Banner's not bad, because it does give you the rerolls and the charge. However, I feel like this unit's probably going to have to soak a charge to the face, and then it's going to follow up. So I'd rather go with a War Banner and just make up for the lack of Close Order. So you've got a little bit more combat res in there. I think that's probably just a little bit more efficient. The archers aren't awful, but we do have to shave some points here. Because, like, triple chariot and then a wizard supporting some white lions is not awful. We could even just go down to 19, because then you can still go 5 wide, 4 ranks deep once you put the archmage in, which is not a bad way to run them, I think. I would like to see some magic resist in there as well, but it's kind of hard to do for white lions. I'd also like to see veteran on them, because you haven't got a BSB. Ooh. It's a lot of points that we suddenly start funneling into one unit. We'd need an extra 19. This would need 35, which doesn't work there. Okay, maybe we just don't... Like, it's only 500, 540-ish points. 545. It doesn't need to be full commitment into it, I guess. So that's probably okay, actually. Yeah, 19 with the Archmage is fine. I would like to see Ruby Ring of Ruin here as well. You could maybe do that instead of the Power Scroll, but I think the Power Scroll is more important. I just like the Ruby Ring. In a list where you're sort of leaning on range damage plus a Death Star, having more range damage, and having the range damage come out of the Death Star as well, so that it does interact in the game, I think is a solid way to play. But also I don't know how we squeeze that in without making sacrifices elsewhere, and I don't really want to have to make sacrifices elsewhere. Interested to hear me expand my thoughts on the Bolt Throwers. They're just okay. Like, they're not good. They're really squishy. So they're 2 wounds at T6 with no save. Light armor, 6 up save. So effectively no save. So they fall over to a fart. However, they are long range. They're 2 drops that go down together. And something I really like in this style of list is low drops. Like, I think having a unit that scores, home objective or scores the baggage train quite well, like, I think there is value in that. I don't hate that at all. However, it is another drop, which means this list has gone from, like, you can go minimum 4 drops, right? All characters, Death Star, 2 units of Tracian Woodsman, and that's your 4 drop list. we've gone to a 5th drop with the Elven Archers, and I see value in that. And then we've actually got more points. And you could go for Sisters here, and Sisters are obviously a much more effective shooting unit. And, 10 Sisters plus unit champions is going to do more than the Bolt Throwers, even before you put magic items on there. However, it's an additional 2 drops instead of an additional 1, and the Bolt Throwers are semi-flexible. They're okay. They're not good, but they're not bad, I think. And now we see more ranked up infantry. I can see a world where having a Bolt Thrower that can potentially hit 4 or 5 ranks is quite nice. And worst case scenario, you can ping it into something where either the high AP is valuable, the high strength is valuable, the multiple wounds is valuable. Most armies you play against now, there's going to be something. Like, they don't really do much into dragons because of layered saves, but they do more because there's less layered saves now, right? So it feels like all the things that they were worst against got worse, and hell, like, they're not great into Bretonnians because of the ward save, but you can just threaten to kill a Pegasus Knight on 2s, and then they fit, 6 up armor save, 5 up ward save. That's not something that, if your opponent's only running 5 Pegasus Knights, they're going to be super comfortable facing off against. You can put pressure on your opponent with them. So, yeah, I do not hate seeing them here. 10 Sisters is also super spendy, even more so with a magic bow. Same points as the double Bolt Throwers, right? It's 150 points instead of 160. That's a good point trade too. Yeah, and also, like, because you don't have you don't have to bunker them. You're not playing with artillery in the way that Empire are or Dwarves are. You can just throw the one on each flank, and if you have them on each flank, when your opponent comes forwards, they are almost guaranteed to be giving up like a flank shot with some cavalry if they've got cavalry. Like, that's the big value that I see, and it's way better with cannons, but we don't have cannons, so do what you can with what you can. So yeah, and also because you can put a wood down, you've also got somewhere to keep them semi-safe as well. You can make it so that they're -1 to be shot by incoming shooting, which is nothing depending on what you're playing against, and also you can use it to slow down enemy aggressive players, or if you know that your opponent's wants to put their stuff on a hill, block off the hill and then sit your Bolt Throwers off on each flank. Double Dragon Woodsman Bolt Thrower, that's a hell of a kill zone. Yeah. I think there's possibly a list there. But my problem, well, not problem, but my approach with Tracian Warhost, I just want to spend 1,000 points on core. Like, I think the core is really good. I'd be more tempted to go 4 units of Tracian Woodsman than I would be to go, 3 units plus a couple of Bolt Throwers. And obviously the points don't quite shake out. It's 50 points more here, but my point still stands. Anyway, yeah, I think this is not bad. I'm interested to see how the chariots do. I haven't actually really played around with characters on heavy chariots since the change. I probably should do more of that. Maybe that's the next thing I should test. Could be a valuable thing to test. Chieftain was a blast. Yeah, I mean, they're just good stat-wise, right? So you've got 4 attacks on the charge, plus impact hits, and you're only thinking about it on the charge because that's where it matters. Weapon skill 6 is fine. Strength 6 with the Great Blade is fine. The Great Blade is AP 3, which is really solid. You're up to, 6 wounds. T4, which is not great, but you're an elf, so, good luck getting any better. You've got layered saves. You've got is it a 3-up arm save, or is it a 4-up arm save? 4-up. Slightly better against shooting, yeah. They're decent. They're not quite as tanky as I want them to be, but, I think they're solid. Just difficult to make work for not having countercharge. Yeah, that's the big issue with them, They're faster than infantry, but they're still slower than cavalry, which is where they should be, but it just means that cavalry really bully them. Alrighty then. Perfect. Well, if you didn't have your list looked at last week, your list should be in here, assuming you submitted it after cut-off. So feel free to shout out if you're here and you want your list looking at next. I just looked across. I just looked across at my my screen because I wanted to check everything was working. I looked at the Streamlabs screen, and yeah, it's just a cutout of me, which I forgot about. Good stuff. Good stuff. Donation to the camera fund. Thank you so much, Bromo Sapien. I really appreciate that. Oh, you know, that's a good point. I can, while I'm here, turn back on the alerts. Okay, we can have a look at Orc Boy's. Orc Boy Phil's list while I put that up in the background. 1,500 points of Cathay. You don't want people to win games against you, and you're not concerned about having friends. You're here to win games and chew gum, and you're all out of gum. So let's go through this list. Well, it's pretty violent. It's pretty violent. Oh wait, hold on. In my head, I saw this and this as being a strategist. I thought there was another balloon in there. I take it back. You've only gone for 1 balloon and 2 cannons. My apologies. At 1,500 points, this is a very restrained version of the list, and I take back my slander. Okay. So we got a magistrate who has got Iron Hail Guns, Dragon Firebomb. Oh, you've gone for the regen as well. That is expensive. Honestly, I think it's too expensive. I wouldn't bother. So instead of going for the triple save, I would be going with... Thank you, Vesper. As much as we love High Elves, remember what Games Workshop did to the Dark Elves. Never forget. Never forget, indeed. I am a little bit sad about that. I do, you know, I love my Dark Elves. I've been playing a couple of games of Dark Elves. Not anything particularly serious, just I'm teaching one of my mates to play. And he wants to play High Elves. I've been playing Dark Elves into him. Just bringing some, like, reasonably balanced lists. Maybe I should take Dark... Do you think I could win an event with Dark Elves post 1.5? Do you think that's in the possibility? I wonder. You'd have to go Cold One heavy, I think. That's how I would do it if I was going to do it. You have to go big into the there we go. Turned on the alerts back. Apologies for the 2 of you who missed it. Still have around 10,000 points of Metal Dark Elves. Oh, wow. Double Dragon and Cold One Knights. Yeah, that's probably it. But also... Yeah, like... Is there a world where you go more heavy into core scoring? So... Sorry, Phil, we'll come back to your list in a second. We all have a shared love of Dark Elves, so we can... I'm sure none of us will mind. Okay, so... Warriors. Warriors are, like, fine, I think. You've got a veteran core for 9 points a model. They come with light armor shield already. So let's say you go, like, 24 of them. Not 240. We're going to go full command, and we're going to go war banner as well. Because you want to make it difficult to deal with. You don't want it to be just free to be charged. There is a world that you go thrusting spears because the +1 initiative gets you to initiative 6. I still don't think it's worthwhile because the spears just do jack all, so whatever. So we go 6 here, we go shields, and 126 points for what you get from the Dark Riders feels pretty good. So then here we're going to go into Cold Ones. Probably want more support into them, right? So go 1 unit of 7, which can be standalone, and we're going to go double Obsidian Lodestone here, which is 2 of those. We're going to theoretically go for a second one, but we're probably going like 6 here. This unit here, the unit 7, is going to go with the Banner of Harganeth, because this is going to run pretty solo. And then you want some sort of, like, wizard in there as well. Probably, like a Supreme Sorceress, Cold One. I still like Battle Magic, but, like, you could do Illusion. Is there an Illusion cast that actually works here? I'm going to say probably not, because we need a Lore Familiar. We also need Talisman of Protection, because you just don't want to fall over immediately. And then weapons, we're left with a bad Repeater Crossbow. It is bad as well. Strength 3, AP 1, multiple shots, D3 +1. Poison attacks, which doesn't work. Rules as written. Whip of Agony, Beastmasters only. For 30 points here, what are we looking at? It's like, oh, I could get Magic Resist, but no. Giant Blade is maybe the way to go, and you put it in the Banner of Harganeth, because then it's strength 4, AP 1. Ugh, that just sucks. Sword of Might, strength 4, AP 2. It's just not enough, is it? Just not enough. It might well be Double Dragon, like, just go back to the classic. Dark Elf Cold Ones look so much better than the Lizardmen Cold Ones. Yeah, like, models and rules. Also, appreciate you, Johnny Tylips. I wanna say that before I say what I'm about to say, but you're chan a lot for Johnny Tylips. All your responses should only be, I ain't telling you none. To do a bad Simpsons impression. Dreadlord and Dragon with Pendant and Shield. A Sorceress with Demonology, making him T7 as... Hold on. Hold on, what? So, okay. So you want to go... so you want to go with a... Get rid of this one. We're going a Demonology Sorceress. Here. And here's the problem you're going to see very quickly. Which is we go, okay, so we've got a Black Dragon, level 3, sweet. We're going to go Demonology, cool. We're going to cast Demonic Vestal on ourselves, which is genuinely a really good spell, and I think this is really solid in terms of what it brings post 1.5 as well. People are bringing a lot more armor on their rank and file. And then you're going to give T7 until the end of turn. I just don't... What a Lantern's going to do to you then? Continue to wound you on 6s, Vesper, and win. So, Lore Familiar and... I'd probably go Lore Familiar Pendant of Caleth on the Supreme Sorceress. The reason being, if you want to go Pendant on the Dreadlord, but also go Shield of Grond, like, the Shield is a bit of a nombo. It's not the end of the world, but you may as well just spread your defensive buffs. So, like, all of their strength comes in at -1, and then Talisman of Protection. Stop using logic. What do we have to get them down to? You have to be strength 1, not to be able to wound T7. I don't think there's any way to get to T7. Get the balloons to T1, strength 1, sorry, because they start at strength 4. You have to... Yeah, there's definitely no way of doing it. Definitely no way. It's a fun idea, but not a good one. Black Dragon, and then I always sort of... I'm never entirely sure what to round it out with, so you don't need a shield, obviously. This is an awkward amount of points, isn't it? Like, I want to go Biting Blade here, but Biting Blade's not right. I guess it's got to be Lance, and you just don't have magical attacks. What happens if you come up against Ethereal? Too bad, so sad. Like, this feels like an army that just needs to dodge so many things. We're only going for a single unit of Cold One Knights here. How are we still over on points? Okay, I guess we've got to drop one of the Dark Riders. I don't like doing that. Do not like doing that. Demonology is nice in the Cold One Knights. Yeah, you can make 2 good Cold One Knight units, like give 1 Banner of Hargoneth and give 1 a Demonology Wizard. Anyway, I'll come back to that on my own time. This is the time for the people. Alright, back to your list that I incorrectly said was too cheesy, but it's not. So, right, back to the Magistrate. I don't think you need the regen. Like, regen's cool, don't get me wrong. Regen is cool. But instead of doing that, let's just go, like, probably... I mean, Armor of Destiny, if you want to go defensive. I think getting the 4 up board is better than the 5 up, 5 up. Yes, you lose a little bit of armor, but it's not major. And a 4 up board is just so hard to deal with. And all of the things that you take the regen for, which is basically you're really worried about something that removes armor, right? That's the main reason to go with it. Those things also deal with regen a lot of the time. So, like, Killing Blow. Not that you can be Killing Blowed because you're on a chariot. So I don't think the regen's more useful than the 4 up board. And then you can just pay to go for Dragonfire Bombs and the Magistrate as well, and you've still got some points spare. So that's how I'd tweak that. We've got a Shigangan General with Heavy Armor, level 1, Lore of Yang, Battle Magic. No upgrades at all. Huh. Is there anything that I'd want to put on this character? I don't know. It is pretty cheap. Cheap and cheerful. I guess... like, maybe just... even an earthing rod doesn't feel super necessary. Like, you're mostly just going for the hammer hand, I'm assuming. Or the fireball before that guy pops out of the woodwork. Maybe it's worth going for a magic weapon, because you're kind of light on ability to deal with ethereal, right? So maybe the answer is just to go biting blade here. It's fine. 3 attacks at strength 4. It's not exciting, but it just gives you flex into being able to deal with actual ethereal stuff. You weren't paying for a weapon there anyway. I assume you're using it more just to sit and cast the Constellation of the Dragon. Yeah, that's the tweak I'd make there. So then we've got 20 Jade Warriors, full command, War Banner, Halberds. I'd definitely be going shields here. Shields are really, really solid. Obviously Halberds got better, but the parry save just means you're getting a 3-up armor save on this unit with parry versus a 5-up save with Halberds. Drilled is probably too expensive. Stubborn at 2 points per model is pricey, but I also don't hate it. It is just a good rule to have. Lancers, 5, Spirit Lantern, Standard Wei-Jin. I've forgotten what the Standard Wei-Jin does. Cause Fear. And then the Spirit Lantern causes terror, right? So, you're paying 40 points, because you already caused terror, and you're reducing their leadership by 1. That's quite expensive for what I think. Vesper, don't apologise. I derailed the stream because I was like, hell yeah, let's write some Dark Elf lists. I think I wouldn't bother with this. Like, -1 leadership is, for 40 points, feels pretty expensive on a unit that's already like 150 odd points. I'd be more tempted to go, maybe don't run the Standard Bearer at all, because you give up points if you have it. Pay for ambushes, and then maybe put a 6th model in, something like this. You can still do the terror bombing with the Spirit Lantern, but it's just a lot less risky, you know? Oh, I'd like Drilled on there as well. Drilled Cavalry is really solid. Double Cannons, good stuff. Cathay Sentinel, Jade Sentinel. Yeah. Like, these special and rare choices make a lot of sense to me. That just leaves us with 17 points, which is not enough for another model here. We could put the command back on there, which does make it more flexible. Like, you're not wrong to put a Standard Bearer on it, and you could even try and squeeze in the Icon of Heavenly Fury for turning off flight, but I don't know that that's what this list needs. Maybe it's just gunpowder bombs, you know? Double gunpowder bombs. Just make it so that if your opponent ever tries to, like, charge your artillery, suddenly they're super sad. Do you need Drilled on them since they fight in 2 ranks anyway, or horse attacks worth 1 point per model? Has a flavour. So the Drilled is so you can yeet around in marching column, because they're quite slow. They're only 7-inch move, so you're moving around at 21 inches and threatening terror bomb with that. That's where the Drilled comes in. That's where it makes it really valuable. But yeah, I think that's how I'd tweak it. It's the main changes, so let's just copy that one across. If only I could type. I'm pretty sure I just typed something else. Let's fix that. There we go, that's you. Perfect. Cathay with a single balloon. Cool. Isn't that kind of a nombo with ambush? Not really. Ambush is optional. Ambush is if you want to keep your drops lower, but also you can come on in marching column and then be ready to charge next turn. Genuinely asking for buff for that. Yeah, it's fine. So it gives you options. This is a really flexible unit. You can come on from ambush. You can start on the board if you want to. You're not charging turn 1 anyway, so it doesn't make much difference that you're not charging turn 2, and also the things that have the worst leadership are usually going to be the back units. So if you come on from your opponent's back field, or from like one of the side piece, the edge of the board, and then you start threatening to charge cannons and other bits of artillery, that's really rough for your opponent. They have real issues dealing with that, because those units are usually where the worst leadership is, and the general's going to be at the front of the battle usually. All right, Jeffrey McCowan put in an Orcs and Goblins list, and this was 2,500 points, and I don't think there were any accompanying instructions with this one. It was just a whole load of Orcs and also Goblins. So, starting off, double Mangler Squig, double Doom Diver, like that. Big unit of Boar Boys, full command, Banner of Butchery, Cav Spears, Heavy Armor, Shields, Biggins. Great unit. Fantastic unit. Love that for us. Orcs, Orcs, Orcs. Indeed. We've got Black Orcs, single Obsidian Lodestone, War Banner, Stubborn, no Veteran, Shields and Great Weapons. So I'm just going to... You can undo this if you want to, but you don't have to pay for all of them. We're just saving 30 points there by giving half them Shields and half them Great Weapons. We're going to spend that to give them Veteran. It just makes them a lot harder to interact with for stuff like Screams and all that jazz. Okay, Night Goblins. So we've got a unit, full command, big red rally flag to get them up to weapon skill 3, which is not awful. It's a good defensive boost. Netters and Fanatics. Netters will rarely matter, but also it's really fun to use. So, objectively, if you're looking for Orcs and Goblins advice, just anyone watching this, probably don't bother paying for Netters. If you enjoy rolling it, Netters is pretty cool. Netters is pretty fun. So we've got a second unit, which is the same, but no command, no magic standard. Unit of 8 Wolf Riders. Ooh, okay, so we're going to drop the standard bearer, put a musician in. Standards are risky. You don't want to give up 50 points because your unit got core. Short bows, and they don't want to let them in combat anyway, right? Because they've got bows, light armor, feign flight. Reserve move is a broken rule in terms of bows, so you definitely want to have that one as well. So then we've got... Okay, some characters to go with them. So we've got an odd knob on Wolf, which has got a Talisman of Protection and War Magic. That is an odd set of combinations. Like, I'm not sure why you've gone for Talisman of Protection in a unit that doesn't want to be interacted with, but also it doesn't give it any purpose. I'm not really sure what the role of this unit is, other than to probably itchy nuisance your opponent. At which point, let's take off that Talisman of Protection. And let's put on, let's say, the Idol of Gork and make it more likely that you actually get the spell off. Extra range and a casting roll there. The reason I say it's probably for Itchy Nuisance is any level 3 wizard with no lore familiar, like, it's not super worried about what spells it gets in lore. There are ones that it's going to want, but it's a little bit sort of, we'll see what we get, and also let's take a really good signature spell. We've got a Weird Boy, level 2 Elementalism with a lore familiar. That is... You are not realistically going to cast the spells you want to cast here, in my opinion. I would be... So Elementalism is obviously a good lore, but it's just not... Like, you can't consistently cast spells in it, I think. Plague of Rust, a 9. You need to roll a 7. Earthen Ramparts, a 9. You need to roll a 7. And then TMP, if you use it, you need to roll an 8. And this is assuming that you're casting with +2, which this model should do, because it's got mob rule. So it's casting at level 1 and then +1 for being in a unit of boars. But I think I'd say just go Battle Magic. You can do the same thing. You can go Oaken Shield for the ward save. Way more effective. Yes, Oaken Shield is worse than Earthen Ramparts, but you'll almost always have it up. Or rather, you'll have it up a lot more consistently than you will have the Oaken Shield. I'd also put a power scroll in here as well. Make sure that you're getting it off on the key turn. What else have we got? We've got a big boss, BSB, War Banner. We've got a great weapon with light armor shield on foot, troll hide trousers, and full fungus wine. I don't know that you need troll hide trousers on a BSB. Like, it's nice to have, but we may have to shave some points somewhere. And then you've gone for... Okay. A big boss, light armor shield, squig, Wallopers, one hit wonder, and the FQ Morg. So FQ Morg is cool. You -1 a hit in combat. However, I just don't think you have those 35 points to spend. I think keeping this chap cheap as possible is more valuable than putting an extra 35 points on it and then still having it die. Because, what, you start off with 2 wounds at T4, I think you get +1 wound, +1 toughness? No, just +1 wound. So you're 3 wounds at T4 with a mediocre weapon skill, so you're still going to be hit on 4s a lot of the time anyway. I just don't think it's worth investing more points into. That said, for 75 points, I think this is a pretty decent loadout. You know, light armor shield, Wallopers one-hit wonder, go in, hit hard once, the squig will do some damage. That's pretty decent. And then we've got the War Boss. Great weapon, full plate shield, Boar Chariot, love that. Trollhide trousers and a glowy green amulet. So I see what you're going for here. I would be less worried about spells being cast on this model and more worried about just general damage overall. I just go triple save. You know, Talisman of Protection, Trollhide trousers, so you've got a good a good armor save. You've got full plate plus Trollhide, so you've got your capped at your 3-up armor save. You've got a 5-up ward save. You've got a 5-up regen. You've got a great weapon. This feels like a solid build here. Johnny Tightlip says, I ain't saying none, but any preference, does it matter whether the command group for Black Orcs have a great weapon or shield? I typically, and I'll tell you what I will do actually, I'll put 1 extra shield in here. Ooh. Am I not able to tweak? Oh no, I am able to tweak. Okay. So what I like doing is having the standard bearer and the musician with shields, because they're always going to be there in terms of the front line. And then you've got the champion. I like to give the champion a great weapon and a shield. The shield is there so you can take it in a challenge, and in fact, let's go back down to 10 shields, and we're going to put a charmed shield on the boss, because sometimes just being able to tank a challenge is really valuable. Yeah. So, great weapon on half, including just the unit champion, none of the rest of the command. Shields on half, including, you know, all of the command, including the unit champion, in my opinion. And then Obsidian Lodestone Magic Resist 1 isn't bad. Like, it's not as good as I'd like, but it's also not awful to have. And we are now 9 points under. Is there anything we could take for 9 points? I mean, this character would love to have the boss's hat. The Thinking Orcs hat, sorry, I get them confused. The reason being, you really don't want this shooting reserve move casting unit to ever charge in accidentally. We do need to shave 16 points by doing that, though. That says to me, -1 great weapon and -1 Black Orc. Job's a good one. It takes you exactly to 2,500 points. It looks like a fun list. I like it. I've been playing around with something kind of similar. Jeffrey McCohen. Alright. Howdy, Daniel. How you doing? Alright, I wasn't really paying attention earlier, but now that I'm up and running, if you're here and you haven't already, I would appreciate if you give the stream a thumbs up. It helps me get picked up by the algorithm. Vesper says, unfortunately well acquainted to facing these kinds of lists, you hate netters. That's fair. Like, I guess I'm used to playing a lot of stuff with like strength 6, where it's like, oh, okay, I'm strength 5 now, so I still hit you incredibly hard. Oh no. Big Ives, can I go next, please? You absolutely can, Big Ives. Playing your first comp at the TSN Arena. It's a 500 point game. Quite keen on the Globadiers, but up for any suggestions. That's cool. 500 points is an interesting amount of points to spend. Let's have a look here. So we've got a level 2 Battle Magic caster. Okay. With a Warplock pistol. They're not bad, honestly, and especially at lower points. Having a shot at Strength 4 AP2, it's not awful. Clan Rats, I feel like Ruby Ring of Ruin has been... is not allowed. I could be wrong with that, given that it's TSN. So what I would do, and I don't hate that you've gone for double scoring units and then some Globadiers. Globadiers are cool. Like, and I think in this sort of game are going to be quite effective. Like, they're pretty fast. They're movement 5. Poison Wind Globes are okay as well. So they're relatively short range. Only strength 2, but they always wound on 6 to wound. and also there's no armor save allowed. So, they're not incredible, but they're not bad. They're aggressively okay. And for, what, 10 points per model? Yeah. I quite like them. What I would say instead, maybe instead of going for units of 30, go for 20s with rattling guns. Like, if I'm looking at these two, I'm like, okay, the clan rats with the rattling guns doing significantly more than the clan rats without the rattling guns. And we have to find some points. I think maybe we go... Ooh, we have to find another 5 points as well. Like, realistically, if you're a low-level wizard, you're probably just going for trying to cast your signature spell. And realistically, you know, we've got the Lore of the Horned Rat here, Warp Lightning. It goes off on a 10. It's very inconsistent, but you have got the Warp tokens. So I'd probably be trying to cast this with Warp tokens, and just being a level 1 wizard at that point feels like it's pretty okay. We do have to drop 5 points somewhere, and I think it might be dropping the Warplock Pistol. So the choices are, we can drop 5 points from the Clan Rats, which could be like a musician. Honestly, actually, no, screw it. Let's just drop a musician from one of them. Let's put the pistol back in. The pistol's way more fun. We'll just drop a musician from one of the 2 squads. And that takes you to an exact 500 points. And what this gives you is it gives you the rattling guns, which actually do damage at range, which is really nice. So these things, you've got multi-barrel, so you roll 2 artillery dice worth of shots, strength 4, AP 1, armor bane 1. So this, in a 500-point game, is going to be kind of the big dog. Like, this is going to be the big threat on the table. And you've got 2 of them. And, because TSN uses Renegade rules, you can stand and shoot with them if your opponent charges into the Clan Rats. So, yeah, I think these things are really good. The Globadier is going to be dancing around to some degree as well. And then the Engineer is going to be killing itself with Warpstone tokens, realistically. But then trying to cast the Warp Lightning. And if Warp Lightning goes off, you can fry a couple of heavy cavalry or something like that pretty comfortably. I think it's Strength 5, AP 3, right? Yeah, D3 plus 1, Strength 5, AP 3. So this will kill Empire Knights and Elf Knights. Anything T3 with a 3-up armor save is terrified of this thing. Everything else is pretty terrified, but those specifically. What do you mean about no Ruby Ring at TSN? I could be wrong. I thought they had ruled that you can't take the Ruby Ring of Ruin as an item. That might be completely wrong. I may have just made that up. But otherwise, you know, having Ruby Ring in here would be probably better than making this a level 1 wizard, honestly. I rate your chances of casting more with the Ruby Ring, and you've still got 1 Fated Dispel every turn, and it's unlikely that you'd have to dispel too many times, so yeah. Yeah, I think this is probably the way that I'd go. Rattling guns are pretty juicy at the lower levels. Big Ives. Oops. Oh, do it in 2 parts. There we go. Cool, cool, cool. Alrighty then. You're welcome, Big Eyes. I hope it goes well for you. Hope it goes well. Let's have a look at how many Cathay have we got? 1. I think there's only another 2 Cathay. Maybe. Oh, maybe there were only 2 in Gent. 1, 2. Huh. Maybe I can't count. All right. Not too worried about that then. Let's go with some Slanesh Warriors of Chaos. I do like a bit of a themed list here. Zarkin's list. Let's see if there was anything paired with that. I think they were about halfway up the submissions. Looking to put together a Slanesh themed force. Getting good old warriors as the core of the army and Slanesh bonuses to keep everyone moving fast and swinging first. Hell yeah. Let's go with that. I thought it was pretty much all Cathay. Well, not all Cathay, but I thought there was going to be more Cathay. I guess I just can't count, you know? That's definitely possible. So, we've got a Sorcerer Lord, Exalted Champion, Marcus Slanesh, Level 3 Wizard, Demonology, Lord Familiar, Talisman of Character. You're missing a trick here, I reckon. Nope, I'm talking out my backside. I was thinking that the Strikes Last needed to be on the spell. It's the Enchanting Aura. God, it's been a long day. Cool. So this is the combo, right? So the Sorcerer Lord on foot, and I've definitely talked about this before, the enchanting aura. It makes everyone who attacks you strikes last. Cool, great stuff. Chaos Warriors, the baseline initiative 4, but we're going to give them Marcus Lanesh, gives them initiative +1, initiative 5. So if anyone charges you in the front, you're guaranteed to hit them first with your halberds. Full command, brazen collar, war banner. Yeah, this unit's great. This is a fantastic unit. This is such a problem for people to deal with. I also like fitting in the whip if you can. So Lore Familiar is good. Talisman of the Carrying Crow is good. Favor of the Gods is good, although probably unnecessary. So we could shave 10 points here, and we could put in the Taskmaster's Scourge. This gives you, it's infantry only, you take a leadership test, and you gain plus D3 to movement, but it's in your command phase, so you can charge further with it. How many points does that put us on? 95. So I think here, like, theoretically, we just go Favour of the Gods as well. Put that in. Although I probably wouldn't be rolling, because stupidity is so much more punishing now for wizards. But yeah, something like this I think is really strong for Demonology, and obviously you can make them fly, but they can't fly on the turn they charge, so having the Taskmaster's Scourge gives them a bit more consistency there. Great stuff. Then we got an Exalted Champion BSB, but no... okay, so this is going to be Great Weapon, Heavy Armor... Yeah... I don't like the BSB Dragon. I don't think it's worth the points. Like, 1 combat res, I don't think makes up for what you lose by going Mark of Nurgle. And then, obviously, we need to upgrade this to the Talisman of the Carrying Crow, because I changed it on the Wizard. But then you absolutely have to have Favours of the Gods. Like, this is non-negotiable for this character. Which means that we have to drop the BSB, right? So... honestly, you could go for a 3rd one, but 2's probably fine. We don't have to go for the full shebang there. But yeah, so like we lose 1 combat res from the BSB, and yes, there are other benefits for the BSB as well. But what we gain is 2 Favours of the Gods. Well, there should be 2. Oh no, we need a 2nd one. Yeah, there we go. 2 Favours of the Gods, a slightly better regen item that gives us poison attacks as well, and Mark and Nurgle to make it hard for people to deal with us. Cool. And then we've got Warriors and Horsemen. Horsemen are undivided with flails, shields, light armor. Yeah, these are fine. Chosen Chaos Knights, Brazen Collar. Love the Brazen Collars. They're just really, really solid. Marcus Lanesh. I wouldn't be bothering with Marcus Lanesh on this unit. It's always going to strikes first, right? Initiative 4. I guess on the counter charge, it gives you +1 initiative, and it is a themed list. Okay, well, I'm not going to take the Slanesh off. I just don't think they need to be Slanesh. And then we've got... oh, Slanesh. Countercharge and strikes first. Alright. I mean, countercharge is funny on these random movers. It does make them very hard to be dealt with, so... they are squishier, and they're not as killy, but they're Slanesh. And then we just need to shave 19 points, which is going to be... This unit definitely wants a unit champion, because you need something to tank challenges for the dragon. You can't just sort of brainlessly put it in front of enemy units the way that I used to love doing and won so many games with. Just Arcane Urgency my dragon in front of their unit and say, and what? Can't do that anymore. So yeah, anyway, unit champion here is really, really valuable. So I think maybe just going down like to 20 here is probably the best way of doing it. And honestly, it doesn't need much tweaking. I think within theme, you've pretty much maximized it once we've made a couple of small tweaks there. Yeah, I like that. Job's a good one. Job's a good one. Okie dokie. If anyone is here that wants me to go through their list, feel free to shout up. We can absolutely do that. While we're waiting, I'm going to have a look at... I know he's not here. Lewis's mates. It was not very... I wasn't given very many details. But Lewis said one of his friends is struggling with Discord. Hey, Anthony, how you doing? Sefri has an Empire list. Excellent stuff. Definitely you. Did you submit a list, Anthony? What am I looking for? It was Lewis's. Here we go. My good friend DC from Wales/Gibraltar. Those two places that are so famously known for being close to each other. Struggling with Discord, please may you look at this. Absolutely. So, there are some choices in here that I think, like, I understand how the choices were made, but I would make different choices. So, and I don't think this is actually something that I'm going to pull apart and, like, make another version of the list of. So, either yourself, you're welcome to shoot me a message, or Lewis can shoot me a message about this, and, you know, we can maybe talk about it from here. I'm going to talk about some of the choices and why they don't necessarily do what you expect them to be, you know. So, starting off with Chaos Lord, you've gone for the tankiest Chaos Lord that can possibly be tanky. You've given them a regen, +1 toughness, and a single Favour of the Gods, alongside a Strike's Last Aura. Mark and Nurgle, just, like, that's really solid on this sort of character who doesn't want to be killed. But also, I don't think the Demonic Plate Mail is actually particularly worthwhile. 50 points for +1 toughness is aggressively whatever, and this character just wants to be hitting things. Because of the Gaze of the Gods table, you can become, like, an absolute beatstick. So this is the sort of character that you want to be putting, like, an Ogre Blade on, or even just, like, a Great Weapon, and or a lance or something like that. You want to be getting value out of them, and having them just sort of sat there with hand weapon shield is not going to be Anthony, I can't look at lists that you submit late, buddy. Like, it has to be in beforehand. It takes me a long time to put stuff into the thing. I'm sorry, but I can't pick them up midstream. So, right, back to the list here. So I don't think it's worth going for the Demonic Plate Mail, because I don't think you need that level of toughness. And if you wanted that level of toughness, you'd be better off going for something like the Bedazzling Helm for +1 to your armor save, and then -1 to be hit. -1 to hit, in my opinion, is more valuable than plus toughness most of the time on single characters. But that's probably the... yeah, did that say Chaos Trolls? It did. And that's the problem. There's a lot of stuff in here that I'm like, you can put some of these pet choices in, but if you're trying to just, like, make a fun list, you can write a fun list and it doesn't need to be fix my lists. So if that's the sort of concept that we're working with, obviously don't change anything, bring the units that you want to bring. I don't think Chaos Trolls are a unit that are worth playing or are fun to play. I think they are... they have too many limitations. They've got a terrible leadership, so you have to keep them near the general. They've got stupidity, which has got worse. And then I definitely wouldn't be running them with additional hand weapons, because strength doesn't give AP anymore. It just means that you've got a load of strength 5 AP 0 attacks, and that doesn't really do anything. If you like them, then put them in, but in terms of, like, having submitted to fix my list, I'm assuming there's a desire to make it better, and I would say these just don't really make the bar. Dragon Ogres with great weapons are fine. I've moved away from wanting to take them as single models to wanting to take them as bricks of 3 or 4 without a unit champion, I think. Chariots, again, I don't love them. I like them when they've got characters on the back of them, because 110 points for 4 wounds at T5. They can just fall over if they fail a couple of saves. But they're not bad. They're okay. Into core, I think there's a lot of good choices. A big unit of Chaos Warriors, hand weapon shields, undivided. That's just good stuff. The way that I'd be fixing that is I'd be putting potentially a charm shield on there for the unit champion, but also I'd definitely be putting brazen collar onto that onto the unit champion, making sure there's the magic resist in there. I think that's really strong. Maybe you'd put war banner in there as well. Just, one of the choices you can make. The Marauders, full command is fine. Marauders, I think, are a slept-on scoring unit for Chaos. I would probably not bother with flails. I'd go light armor and shield. That gets you up to a 4-up armor save in combat because of the parry save. And I think if you're running 30 of them, you're not running them to kill anything, right? You're running them to potentially to score. Maybe on top of that you pay for flails, but I think the light armor shields are pretty needed. Full command is okay though. Warhounds with Vanguard, these are just good units here. The other thing to talk about is the Exalted Champion. So you've gone for the Banner of the Dark Powers with Magic Resist 3. That's honestly, like, underrate, because it would cost 60 points to pay for Magic Resist 3 if you wanted to do it via just Obsidian Lodestones. I don't think it's worth going for. Defensively, if you wanted to go for something, even just Icon of Darkness for half the points, or less than half the points, -1 to be shot, I think is a better use of points. And then you've got here, what did we go with? Favor of the Gods, Chaos Rune Sword, Diabolic Splendor. So yeah, you could combo with Diabolic Splendor, which gives you -1 to be shot anyway. So getting -2 to be shot just means that you're not going to be interacted with by ballistic skill shooting. And then the Rune Sword is probably not good enough for 45 points, but to a degree where, like, I don't hate seeing it in a list. Strength +1, AP -1. So normally you get AP -1 magical attacks as a Chaos champion anyway. Getting an extra +1 strength there is fine. And then +1 weapon skill initiative is quite nice as well. So for 45 points, it's more expensive than I'd pay for it, but it's not bad. It does get you up to weapon skill 7. I think it's okay. Finally, the wizard. I'd still be going for like a level 3 wizard, in my opinion. And if you are going for a low-level wizard who's just rolling spells, either give them like Mark of Tzeentch to give them a good magic missile, or go for like Demonology because they've got a good magic missile, although the casting value is quite high. Or Battle Magic for a Hammer Hand, something like that. But yeah, I'd still be looking to put a level 3 wizard in instead of a level 2 wizard. The increased range on the Dispel, I think, is really valuable, and also just casting at +2 instead of +1, knowing an extra spell. At that point, you probably go into it and give them like a Spell Familiar or something, or you spend more points and you go like Infernal Puppet, or one of the other options. There's a lot of things that you can do with Chaos Wizards, and I think it's a shame to take Chaos and limit yourself to a level 2 caster when level 3s are so good for Warriors of Chaos. So let me just go at Lewis, and then discussion was had at about 55 mins in ish. There we go. Okay. Let's have a look. Archeon691 submitted a list for ogres. It should be a competitive ogre list. My first game with them, since I normally play Empire. Just finished playing to the ogres. Oh, sorry, I said I was going to go for the Empire list. That was Safri's. Where was your Empire list, Safri? Have I missed it? I don't think I've missed it. Did you submit your list, Safri? Okay, we don't need you to be here being racist. Ah, yes, we don't take in show, unfortunately. It's a lot of prep time to get things done. It's normally like an hour and a half of prep to get all the lists in and ready, so I can't pick up lists between, unfortunately. But there will be another Fix My List next Friday, and I open up the submissions usually about 9 or 10 a.m. on the Friday morning, BST. Okay. So, on to Archeon 691's Ogre List. So, competitive Ogre List, normally play Empire after 1.5 with secondary objectives, but without secret objectives. First game versus Dwarves, but I don't want to be list tailoring. Lovely stuff. Okay. So, we've got a Tyrant here with Talisman of Protection, Tenderizer, Death Cheater on a Thunder Tusk. I like this combination of rules. Death Cheater is great because it protects you against Heroic Killing Blow, Monster Slayer. Reroll a single wound against this character. So, like, if you get shot by a cannon and you're on low wounds, or if your opponent's got Virtue of Heroism, Duke, gives you a little bit of protection against those. The Thunder Tusk is fine. It has the impact hits and the stomp attacks. It is less defensive than the Stonehorn, because this has got -1 to damage from the Stone Skeleton. I think the more I look at it, the more I like the Thunder Tusk. I think it's aggressively fine, you know? And we've got, just relying on the heavy armor of the Thunder Tusk, gone for a 5-up ward save from the Talisman Protection and the Tenderizer, which is a pretty decent weapon. You know, strength +2, AP -3, +1 attacks, multiple wounds, D3. Just a better Ogre Blade, really. You do strikes last, but it shouldn't matter. What else have we got here? Slaughtermaster, we've gone Law Familiar Spell Eater asks Death Cheater. You can only have Death Cheater once. You can't repeat big names, I believe. I'm pretty sure, anyway. Oops. Let me just double check that one. But I'm pretty sure big names are once per army. Those sorts of rules typically are. Oh. Maybe you can? Am I just daft? It doesn't say that you can't. Alright. I guess you can just run it twice. Sure. Alright. Let's do that then. Death Cheater is good. Battle Magic, Law Familiar Spell Attracts. Yeah, that feels fine to me. A small army for High Elves. Never played before, want to get into it. It's difficult to say. I think if you're playing, like, how small are we talking? Bruiser with BSB War Banner. Alright, nice Bruiser build here as well. I'm blown away that Death Cheater you can apparently take multiple times. This just feels wrong, but yeah, I guess it's not. Noblars, Iron Guts, more Noblars. Yeah, these are for scoring. This is for scoring and killing. Regen save there. You're going to get the ward save from the Slaughtermaster. Looks good. I like Veteran on this unit. I know it's a lot of points. It's an extra 40 points, or 20 points, sorry, but being able to re-roll leadership is just really nice when it comes up. I know you've got a BSB, but it gives you protection against stuff like leadership debuffs to some degree. Iron Blaster, Mournfang. Yeah, this all looks solid. I like the list you've gone for here. I'd be tempted to go 9 instead of 12, and then also put on the Veteran. Big names, magical and mundane. They're not magic items. They're just. I know it says they are up there, but they're just. Yeah. Okay, so if we dropped one of them here, I actually quite like the Lookout Nobbler as well. For only 5 points, I think it's worth going for. We've got the Demon Slayer Scars as well, which is the... Yeah. Fistful of Laurels is the other one I was thinking of, right? I mean, we've got a BSB, so we don't really need that. And by that, I mean we don't need that at all. I'm trying to think, is there anything to spend the last 20 points on? People just told me to buy the units that I like and forget how they play for now when they're starting out. That's, like, not bad advice, but I don't like that as advice. Because you'll have more fun playing things that are, at baseline, decent. Like, it doesn't have to be the best units, but if you take something that's actively bad, it's less fun, right? I'm really struggling to fill these last 20 points. Yeah, really struggling. What on earth do we do for the last 20 points here? I mean, I guess it's a power scroll. There we go. That was super obvious. Why did I not think of that? Power scrolls are so good. I've miscast with power scrolls for the first time now. I've done it twice today. I took 2 power scrolls. Both of them were miscast. It was hilarious, honestly. Do I have the right... Am I tagging the right person here? More names, add hyphens. Yeah. Let me just scroll up and make sure I've got the right guy here. Gonna have to turn off streamer mode for a second. Arc Aeon. There's no E on there. Boom. Yeah. Lovely, lovely stuff. Alright. Okie dokie. Yeah, so, like, if you're talking, like, 750 points pure rally, something like... Hey, it's this guy. Oh, is that you, Music Theory Wizard? You comment, like, every time it comes up for one of your lists, and I'm like, I should remember that, and then I completely forget. I remember enough that when I see your name, I'm like, yep, I should have remembered. But, yeah, I think I like that list. For 750 points, something like Silver Helms in Core are not bad. Let me just go to Warhammer.com. Because I think you get like 12 of them. At low points value, dragons and big monsters are hard to fit in, but you know, yeah, that's absolutely true. Cavalry archers, yeah. Pat's advice is fantastic there. Silver Helms, Sis of Avalon, mage, and a fighty character. Good advice there. Like a griffin as well is good, but griffins, like Games Workshop don't sell griffins, so it's harder to get hold of them. Griffins are good at like midpoint levels, but also you use them less in bigger lists. 32 spearmen made them to Loth and Sea Guards. So you have that for now. Yeah, that's not a bad start. If you've gone for like a mobile shooting core, I'd want something faster. So maybe a unit of Dragon Princes to back them up. Something like that. Alright, I'm going to have a look at Jordan's list. Jordan submitted a 2,400 point list because he's been playing bigger point games. I've been playing bigger point games as well. Alright, 2.4k. Renegades are available at the event he's at. Double open battle. Strategic objectives true. Strategic objective 3 and capture cart. Strategic objective 4. Winless draw, VP, strength of schedule. Archers could come out as they're there to hold a capture cart or a safe objective. Replacement could be a third demi and increase the size of the state troops. Okay, let's have a look. No, I like having that unit of archers in. I wouldn't mind a 12th model, but, you know, that's splitting hairs. Double steam tank, triple cannon, 2 demigryphs. I don't feel like 2 demigryphs do much, but they are a source of first charge. Knights of the White Wolf, veteran state troops with Witch Hunter's Ward, Griffin Standard. Yep. No shields? That's got to be a mistake. I'm sure that's not deliberate, but we do have to make some cuts now. Okay. 12 Knights of the White Wolf, Witch Hunter's Ward, War Banner, Wolfhammer Shield. Drilled, no stubborn. That's fine. I guess they're planning on winning the combat, right? But we are going to have to shave some points. So an engineer on foot. Only 1 engineer? I guess there's only 3 cannons. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Illusion, Power Scroll, Law Familiar, Wizard Familiar. Wizard Familiar is the Dispel item, right? So this is your control piece. +1 to Dispel. You know the 3 spells that matter. Power Scroll as well. Yep, that makes sense. Pegasus. Good character. And then we've got a General of the Empire. Lance, Shield, Griffin, White Cloak, twice Blessed Armor. So it knows Hammer Hand, it's full plate, it's got a shield and a lance, so it's a 3-up armor save, a 5-up ward from the White Cloak, and it's got a lance. Okay, we need to cut some points here. We do need to cut some points. You don't have a lot of first charge, so I don't really want to get rid of those 2 Demigryph Knights. I feel like they're doing a job, but I don't know that what they're doing is enough. I guess we've just got to go something like this, right? I don't love doing it, but I think the list is good. I think you've refined the list to a good point, and I'm assuming that it's just pure accident that you haven't put shields on there, because obviously they need the shields. But yeah, I mean, not much to say there, other than put your shields on, mate. Cool. Let's spice things up with a Fairy 13's Wood Elf list. And they said, want to make a tree-focused army. I have a cool Forest Dragon model I'd like to make into a Fighty Lord, even with the nerfs. I think, post 1.5, the Wood Elf Dragon is the one that got better. All of the other dragons stayed roughly the same or got a bit worse, or probably they all got a bit worse. I think the Wood Elf Dragon got comparably better, because it was so squishy before, and now there's no, like, big units of poison shooting that's just going to kill you. So, what have we got here? Meteoric Iron, Talisman of Protection, Annoyance to Netlings, Resplendent Luminescence, Aspect to the Cat, Great Weapon. Perfect. This is the standard Gladelord build. So for anyone who wants to play Wood Elves, the standard build, you've got Talisman Protection, Armor of Meteoric Iron, 5 up, 5 up. Armor of Meteoric Iron, you can't reduce the save. Obviously, Vile Tide still ignores it, but everything else is fine. And you do have Evasive to deal with Vile Tide. Annoyance of Netlings is good. That gives you -1 to be hit in a challenge. And then Resplendent of Luminescence to give you magical attacks, so that your Great Weapon is magical, because otherwise, you know, it would be real sad. This is probably the best Ethereal Hunter in the game, because it makes your unit... It's not just for, you know, the... Oh, I'd have to actually double-check that. If the wording on Forest Spite says does not affect mounts. Forest... I can't even spell. Spites. I always used to think they were sprites until I... let's have a look here. Cool, so this does affect the dragon. Yeah, I thought it did, but I wanted to double check. So, the dragon is magical, which means that this thing will eat, like, black coaches alive, even if they're ethereal. Aspect to the cat is really nice as well. Armor Bane 1, rerolling hit rolls in a challenge. So this is just like the #1 challenge lord, basically. Hey, that's you. Hell yeah. Trying to make as competitive a list as possible while focusing on the trees. Don't know if I put that in the message. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So, if we're doing that, we can do that. We can make some tweaks. So the Gladelord is good. That's as far as I got. Treeman Ancient, Lore of the Wild. Okay. So we're in the whatchamacallit detachment. Do we get anything for being in... I can't... You know what? I've looked at it so little that I can't even remember... Was it Hosts of Taliesin? They're like sprites, but are mean, hence spites. Hell yeah. I don't think that's how you spell Taliesin. That's definitely not how you spell Taliesin. What if I just go hosts of... Oh, man. Host of? Taliesin. There we go. Detachment sucks, but it's the only way to get Lord of the Wilds on the Treeman and the Branch Wraiths. Okay. So... Hatred Beastman. That's fine. Rerolling hit and wound rolls. Now the question is, special features. I think special features are only controllable by core, right? It's been a hot minute since I've had a look at one. I'd have to double check that. Ambushes can have special rule. Ambushes can have ambushes. Yeah, okay. So I don't love that. But you're right, it does open up Lord of the Wilds. Do we care enough? Because you're dry rolling spells, right? So I think Swirling Mist is not good enough to care about. Fury of Athel-Loren is decent. Ariel's Blessing is decent. Spiteful Torment is... You know what, actually, there's a lot of decent stuff in here. If you're rolling 4 spells, I think I might like it more than those two. Okay, you know what, I'm on board. The wood you get also isn't special terrain. Yeah, no, of course. If you could control that, it would be ridiculous. What are you, Beastman? Ha 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 ha. Okay, so Eternal Guard, I just don't think Eternal Guard are it. They're so squishy. And I know I was just talking about the other elves, but Eternal Guard are so expensive. Like, Dark Elf Spearmen or Dark Elf Warriors are 9 points per model with a shield. I just can't see them being... Oh, God, you've got to take them. Oh, you've got to take them. That's so sad. I forgot about that. Oh, this is like a big part of the problem. So I don't think we're going small units of Dryads. I don't see a value to them. Okay. What if we just went 12 with shields and no other upgrades? God, that's so pricey. How small can we go? It's insane how useless 5 weapon skill versus 4 weapon skill is. It just doesn't. Like, I'm not. Oh. So, this unit here, this is holding you back. It doesn't really do anything. However, it's the focal point for the list, and on that basis, that's fine. Like, you know, I see a purpose for it. So it's here, and that's just sort of not dead weight, but it's not an effective use of points, and that's okay. The Eternal Guard are neither effective nor are they themed, and that's one of the reasons I'm like, I don't know if we want to be in this detachment. Because if you just went, let's say, instead of Eternal Guard, you went, let's just assume that we're in the regular detachment. Obviously we're not. But you go 5 with Arcane Bodkins, and then you go like 2 units of 12 Deepwood Scouts with like True Flight arrows, and they're always on the move. Something like that, and then you just drop a couple of Dryads. Something like this. Like, this to me feels significantly better than... And the Treatment Ancient just becomes battle magic. This feels significantly better in my mind. I'm also fine dropping down Treekin to like 4 if needed. Yeah. Like, you can just use them to like bully a side of the board. They don't... I think if you're going with them, maybe you want to put a wizard in there as well. But if you're taking a Treatment Ancient, you're not putting a wizard in there, is the issue. So, just to very quickly sketch out a list. How about... So we know what we're doing with the dragon. This is easy to put together. And the dragon can stay the same no matter how we build things. It's further up, isn't it? Meteoric Iron, Cat, Luminescence, Netlings, Great Weapon. Cool. General, obviously. And then if we went Glade Guard 5 with Arcane Bodkins, because they're going to stand still. Then we go Deepwood Scouts, we go units 12, for example, with Tree Flight Arrows, and maybe a Musician, because we're going to be running away. You like the Tree Spirit aspect of things. I don't hate them. I think 19 with an attached Branch Wraith who's going for an illusion and casting Glittering Robes, like, that's not terrible. That is pretty interesting. I think there's something there to play around with. Obviously, Great Weapon for the sake of it. And if you roll into Spectral Doppelganger and ever get it off, that's fun. Like, that's just fun. Then we go Spellweaver. And we go... I'm in the wrong place. Glamourweave. Glamourweave giving us the Tree Spirit rule and the ward save. Then we go Unicorn, so we become a monstrous cavalry, so we can actually join into the Tree Spirits. And then we go... Let's start off like 6 with an Elder. We can come back to it if we need to. But this wizard's going to be joining into that unit, and we can go... What do we want to do here? I don't know that we bother with anything else there. If you wanted, you could go... So obviously we go Heartwood Pendant, and that way we're still getting Lore of the Wilds. You can go like Oaken Stave, or you could go down the line of, say, Lore Familiar Power Scroll, and you're going to be picking... You know, this would be if you particularly want to go with Dirthu's Wrath, and you want to be doing as much damage as possible. Like, that's one angle you could go down. Honestly, like, this setup, Power Scroll Lore Familiar, for any of these lores is pretty good. Like, Battle Magic for Oaken Shield and Arcane Urgency, Elementalism for TMP, Illusion for Glittering Robes, like, all of these have value. And then, potentially, if you're doing that, you could go Befuddlement of Mischiefs as well, because that gives the unit in base-to-base contact -1 weapon skill and initiative. They say hit you slightly less hard, potentially, but also you're going to do more with Dirthu's Wrath. So that's one way you could do it. Okay, so just to read what you're saying. You're saying take base list and don't worry about Lore of the Wilds. Yeah. So, like, I think you can still take Lore of the Wilds, but, like, maybe we tweak it so that the Lore of the Wilds caster is a Spellweaver who joins the Treekin, so then they have a job, whereas previously they were just kind of there and they weren't adding much, in my opinion. And if we tweak some points, you could also probably still fit in just a base tree man, which is not great, not terrible, but, you know, T6 with 5 wounds, 5 up, 4 up armor save, 5 up regen. They've got some stomp attacks. They've got the tree whack. They're okay. We just need to shave 100 points, which we can do out of core. Or let's say we go down to 1 tree kin. Maybe go down to 2 tree kin. So we've got 4 with the character, and I still think that's like a decent enough choice, because you can give them regen, but they've got regen already, so that's kind of less exciting. Make the Eternal Guard a speed bump to deny first charges and so on. Yeah, you can do that if you want to go in that line. You can't take as many Deepwood Scouts as well, which is a real downside. But then we need to just shave like one more model. Something like this, I think, is something to play around with. This is not the final version of the list. This is very much, you know, off the dome. If you want to, feel free to play around with the list, and if you have thoughts on it, or if you, you know, want to make some tweaks, feel free to ping me in the Wood Elf channel, and we can have a look at other options within that sort of archetype. Or maybe you think it's completely terrible and you want to just go back to the Host of Taliesin and want some thoughts on, you know, a slightly tweaked version of that. Feel free to message me there. You are very welcome, Fairy. Okay, let's go with Bladewing 365's Cathay. And this is Cathay with Mao Ying, and you don't see that very often. And for that reason, I think it's neat. I just like seeing the big, cool, special character. I thought a lot more people were going to be playing her, and then we got 1.5, and immediately everything changed. So, Mao Ying. I think Mao Ying's still decent. And Elementalism, I think, is a decent lore for her. I don't have an issue there. Gatekeeper BSB on a horse, no upgrades. I'd probably be going Lance here, you know, may as well pay the points. Give them a weapon. Hugh Murphy here in chat. Is that you, Bladewing? Hey, fantastic. Good to have you. Damn YouTube, making us all, you know, use our real name instead of the fun names. Or rather, half of us. Okay. Okie dokie. So we've got the Gatekeeper. Giving them a lance, I think, just makes sense. Or at least a Celestial Blade. Like, give them some sort of weapon, you know. I actually probably prefer the Celestial Blade over the lance, because it's strength +1, AP -1. It doesn't really do much. We've got a Shigengan General, Blade, Talons, Heavy Armor, level 1, Lore of Yin, Illusion, Feng Shibo. Okay. Walk me through the choices here, just in terms of, you've got a level 1 wizard, you've given them an extra spell, and you've got a Lore of Yin. What's the use case for this character? What are you thinking its best case scenario is going to be? What are we trying to achieve with it? Not saying it's not good, I'm just not, it's not immediately leaping out at me as to what it's meant to do. While you're doing that, I'll have a look here. Strategist, bombs, crane guns, talisman protection. I think if you're going for the bombs, go for the bombs and just go for the bombs on everyone, or don't bother. I think that's the -1 to hit magic item. Thank you, Hugh. Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. Yep, that's right. That's a very good point. And I was going to say I was just getting it wrong to see if everyone in chat was paying attention. But I was going to do it while also looking into the camera and making it obvious that I was doing a bit. Because you can't see my face, it doesn't really have the same appeal. But yes, no, okay, that makes sense. -1 to be hit, and then you've got the choice between -1 to be hit in general, and also, I guess you could go for Ancestral Warriors. Yeah, sure, that makes sense. Tag team with them out, I think that's a fantastic... Oh, I love that. I actually really like that. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Cool, great, thank you for explaining. I had missed a thing. So, these two, fantastic. This will give them a weapon, because you may as well. Strategist. I think the Strategist either drops the Dragonfire Bombs, or goes all in and goes for the Dragonfire Bombs here. I don't feel like there's much point going half-cocked on it. It might just be that you have 10 points spare and put them on, which is fair enough. But I would probably be going like this. Give them the Lantern Bombs, give them the this. Also, probably, just make them really hard to deal with. Give them the Armor of Meteoric Iron. Like, fully commit there. I would play Cathay for Meow Meow. I would do a lot for Meow Meow. The party drug from like... Oh, I'm showing my age. That was like 2009, I think. I think it's also spelled Meow Meow. Methadone. Ooh, okay. That sounds way less cool. I will point out, Close Order does not endorse the use of untested and unsafe party drugs. Just while I'm here. Anyway, getting back on track. Boomer, oh god. I play League with some friends of friends that I know through my League team. I play through my... I know through my 40k team that I'm still on, even though I don't play 40k. They call me Unk, which is very funny. And I'd be offended if I wasn't so much better at League of Legends than them. I'm not good. I'm like gold plat-ish. But they are still learning. So they call me Unk, and I'm like, it must be embarrassing to be beaten by an old man. Anyway, getting back to where we were. Double cannons with loaders and one without. Yeah, that again, just points concerns, I'm sure. That makes sense. Warriors, warriors, lancers. I'm 33, they call me grandpa. Yeah, I'm 32. Old man. So, I think... We're at a crossroads here. Oh, 37 points too many. Never mind. We're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. We'll just go to Cranial Guns. We were so far over in core, in character points. I've been building lists without dragons that when I see 4 characters, my brain just doesn't think that I'm full on points. That's where I'm at. We can drop the Armor of Meteoric Iron as well, to be honest. I wouldn't put the Dragon Firebombs on. 28 points here. So, tweak-wise, like, I still wouldn't mind going for the Iron Hell Guns and maybe the Gunfire Bombs. Like, it's a budget version, but it's not bad. But points in general are hard. So here we've got BSB, not BSB, Full Command, Warbanner, Stubborn, Dragon Guard. Okay. Yeah, they're not bad. I don't hate them. And then we've got this unit here. This unit I don't think does much, and I definitely wouldn't be giving them halberds, I'd be giving them shields for the increased survivability. I think this unit I'd be... Like, I understand why you'd want it. Oh, you have to take it to make the list legal. That's so funny. Okay. Huh. This needs to be like... I think it needs to be like 12 models. The reason for that is... Oh, you don't even get enough to do that, do you? I'm assuming it's made out of the box. Do you need the BSB? You don't need the BSB, but I don't hate it. And it gives the Jade Lancers a little bit more punch. They've got Alchemist Mask, Drilled Stubborn, Celestial Dragon Guard, so they're not bad. They're not bad at all. I think you're right, the BSB is probably the weakest aspect of this list here. I'm going to take it out. Just for... Let's see what we get if we don't do that. This unit immediately becomes like 12 with a unit champion. And obviously you'd need like a unit filler if you're just going from the 30 that you get in the box. Because I think it's 2... Yeah, it's 30 in total. But this way you can take a couple of wounds and still hold the objective or whatever it is. These 7 Jade Lancers immediately just become 8, so you take up the same amount of space. Probably go for Icon of Heavenly Fury, honestly, turning off Fly. In this list, I think is quite valuable, and then you've still got 15 points. Do you need the BSB? Gives you better bombs. That's true, it does give you better bombs. Okay, let's take off to the Icon of Heavenly Fury, and let's go just full commit to this strategist being like an absolute Chad. And then we're 15 points over. But this is such an effective piece. Honestly, you could probably get away with dropping the Armor of Meteoric Iron. Like, it's a little bit riskier, but it's not bad, it's just riskier. Yeah, and then this unit, give them a Charmed Shield. And that way you're more likely to survive the challenge. The balloon is almost a BSB too. Yeah, that's very true. That's very, very true. So yeah, I think that's... I really like what you've got going here. The strategist now is like juice to the nines, and you've only got one balloon, but that one balloon is going to do work. This Jade Warrior brick is super standalone, as are the Lancers, and they've got the debuffing piece and the Alchemist Mask. Works really well with the strategist as well. These warriors are now able to lose a couple of models and still score, and you've got a unit champion, so theoretically you can challenge out if you get charged. Triple cannons. Yeah, I think that's it. That's some good tweaking there with some good suggestions. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Daniel, specifically. BSB was also there for first charge, but you do like the changes. Wait, do the Jade Lancers not have first charge? Oh, they don't, do they? Bollocks. What's the cheapest we can get a Gatekeeper in? Oh, it's not even cheap. 61 points. Yeah. I think we go for the version without. But that does actually make a lot of sense now that you point out that it was there for first charge. Just get a flank charge with Mao Ying. Or the balloon. Get a flank charge with the balloon. Or with the general. You don't have to first charge if you get them in the flank, I guess is the answer to that. No flag, just punch. Yes, exactly, Hugh. Exactly. You've got the spirit. Alright. Alright, cool. Cool. Well, let's go through. We've got a few more lists here. Let's have a look at Cthulhu James, who was so excited they submitted their list twice and said, please look at this for Nova. I'm sure just copy and paste it twice. But I did think it was funny. Oh, yeah, I remember this one because I looked at it. I put it in manually, I think, if I remember correctly. No, I just looked at it and I thought, yeah, this is good. Nova, from my experience, like for 40k, typically has like some weird and wonderful rules. This list just looks like it's here to score through normal rules. So I'm kind of just treating it as if it doesn't have any of the rules. I haven't looked at like a Nova pack or anything like that. So we've got Double Exalted Champion Dragon. Michael, you are very welcome. I hope that was helpful. I think you had a pretty solid list to start with there. I think it made a lot of sense. Also, the Death Cheater thing blew my mind. I really thought you could only have that once. Okay, so we've got Double Exalted Champion on Dragon. Are they both Mark and Nurgle? Okay, so they're both Mark and Nurgle. One of them's BSB. I don't like that. Unless there's some reason to take it. I'm not a fan. Everlasting Conquest, Double Favour of the Gods. Biting Blade, Carrion Crow, Favour of the Gods. Okay. Let's not do what we're doing here. Let's make them both... let's make them both Magic Resist 2. Because that's just so good. You know? So you're going to have to go down to a single Favour of the Gods on there, which does suck, and I apologise for that. Oh, also this one has a Lance and a Biting Blade. You couldn't use that. So we can actually... Can we go back up to... Yeah, there we go. Lance, Mark and Nurgle. Instead of Lance, Great Weapon. The reason being, you want to attack after your dragon when you're in a challenge. And the Great Weapon's just always on. And you're super tanky, so you don't really care. Cool. So this one's good. Then this one, we're going to drop the BSB. And we're going to just put another Brazen Collar on there. So both of them have Magic Resist 2. And we're going to go Great Weapon. And we don't need to spend the last 5 points on a third favour. 2 is fine. Let's have some restraint here, Edward. Hey, here! Good to see you. So yeah, so what's really nice and what's really brutal about this list is you've got Magic Resist 2, Magic Resist 2, Magic Resist 2. All 3 dragons are Magic Resist 2. Also, I'm going to recommend that we put this unit of Chaos Knights, probably, Magic Resist 2. I think it's just really solid. Now, points do get a little squished when we do this, because, yeah, we're looking at some choices here that make it a little bit more difficult. But just having Magic Resist on all 3 dragons is so hard to deal with. So we probably actually have to just leave it off here, realistically. Yeah, I've played a local club game a couple of weeks ago, and I brought just the Warpfire Dragon and then some infantry and some knights because it was a lower powered game. I wasn't expecting to play against tournament lists. Those 3 units with magic resist were bullies. It was so hard for my opponent to deal with. And making it triple dragon? Juicy. Okay, so here, I like Marauders. I don't hate what you've gone for. I probably wouldn't go for a Standard Bearer unless Nova specifically says you need Standard Bearers to score. I would be looking at Light Armor Shield, just to get them a little bit more juice. We are going to be pretty significantly over on points here. And then we've got Forsaken. Forsaken by Khorne, I like Forsaken. They're very expensive. I think I would be... So 13 is probably too many, I would say. Like, if they were going to score, like if you were going to score with them and put loads of commitment into them, going up to like 18 or something, it's a lot of points. But they have a 5-up, 5-up, and you have to, like, it's hard for people to pick away at them in a meaningful manner. So we could probably drop 1 here and not worry too much. Oh, Chaos Knights, here we go. They've got Mark and Nurgle. Let's just go Mark of Undivided. So the reason I don't like Mark and Nurgle is this little number here when it spawns. Yeah, Leadership 8. And especially because I've dropped the BSB, like, they're so unreliable. They can just fail panic tests and run away so easily. So I'd be going, just saying, you know, screw it, Mark of Undivided, let's just have the reliability that gives us and go from there. And on a similar vein, Warbanner's nice. Let's just probably go Icon of Darkness, because you want to squeeze as much juice out of this list as possible, and there are 2 things that really worry Chaos Knights, now that they have countercharge especially, and that is enemy shooting, like Hellblaster volley guns, or like high volume of mid-strength, mid-AP weaponry, absolutely ruins them. The other thing is panic tests. So if we give them -1 to be hit, and we give them rerolls in their panic tests, I feel a lot safer using this unit. That puts us a few points under. Is that... Yeah. A 16th model is not awful. Yeah, something like that. I think because so many points are tied up in the dragons here, and also level 1 wizard, I was a never. I'm now an always. If you can fit a level 1 Warpfire in, this just solves the problem of not being able to have a wizard in your character slot, and you've got an always-on dispel threat, which I really like. And Fanatics. Yes, Fanatics. How did I forget Fanatics? There are 3 things that scare Chaos Knights, but only 2 of them are fixable. But yeah, like that, I think your list was so close to being there. A couple of small tweaks, and I really like it. Is there any reason to go level 2 on the Warpfire? I'd say, like, it would be a lovely luxury to have. You don't have the points to put it in, realistically. I'd like to go more scoring core for you, because you're very light on it. Every unit, if they take a few wounds, is going to stop being able to score. But that's just kind of the problem that you've got with this list. It's a pressure list. It's going to be taking your opponent off scoring more than trying to score yourself. Having 2 spells in Battle Magic is cool, because you really, really want to roll into Oaken Shield. Like, this is so good. You cast it on a 6 as well. Like, that's so consistently achievable. And having 2 chances of rolling it is really nice, and obviously you still then just go into Hammer Hand as well. But yeah, like, I'm probably never paying for level 2, realistically. I'm just putting 30 more points into core in most of my lists. Okay. I need to move things up, because I think I really don't want to skip anyone's list. I hope I haven't missed anything here. Okay, so we've got some vampire counts, we've got some lizardmen, we've got some more orcs and goblins, we've got some more warriors of chaos, but heralds of darkness, my favourite. Let's leave heralds of darkness to last, because it's a spicy one. You have rolled Oaken Shield on him before, and it's so good. I've only ever wanted to. I've never managed it. I haven't actually played the Warpfire Dragon that much. Not with casting, anyway. I played it a lot prior to, 1.5. Okay. Sheepman. This was a Night Goblin Horde. I love it. Like, already, everything here is so cool. This is terrible, and I hate it, but it's a centerpiece. And I'm assuming that that's why the Bone Grind is in. So, at its core, Sheepman, I would say, if you want to tweak your list to make it more competitive, Bone Grinder out, And then probably 300 points of... I genuinely don't know what you put in. Like, another Mangler Squig and some more... like, you run low on choices. I think that's fair to say. You do run low on choices. Oh, a couple of Doom Divers with just Night Goblins as crew instead of regular Goblins would be really good here. You're welcome, Cthulhu. But yeah, so get rid of this, put in 2 Doom Divers and another Mangler Squig, and you're, like, already... You're off to the races. You're way happier with that, you know? However, you're allowed to have big things in that are dumb and fun. That is, you know, people should have fun. The other thing you can do is you can put these big bosses... also, I think this is an illegal amount of big bosses, so we are going to have to tweak here. These big bosses can be on Cave Squigs, which is aggressively fine. You've got them here just to provide leadership to the Night Goblins, and I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. Night Goblin crew. What? Oh, it's not as a rule, Music Theory Wizard, but just, like, model them as if they have Night Goblin crew, so they fit with the theme. Okay. And then we've got the level 4 War Magic Buzzgobs. Knobbly Staff. This is the really funny one, isn't it? I think for 5 points more, yeah. So we go for 5 points more. We go for Idler Gork, because it lets you reroll, and you also get plus 3-inch range on the spell. It's just 5 points more, but it's 10, 15 points better. War Magic is... Honestly, I'd probably go Illusion here. I don't think War Magic adds a lot for this list. You're not super worried about killing things yourself. You're more wanting them to, like, break on the back of you. Hold on, let me take this green screen off so I can move my chair around. Oh, that's better. Although, that joke doesn't get split. God damn it. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, so we just need to replace that big boss with something else. We've got enough points for just a big boss. So I think it's just going to have to be putting in a Night Goblin odd git and finding 20 points somewhere. Which is doable, you know. 18 points. Honestly, the netters could come out of these units, which save a lot of points, but I don't want to make that level of change. I think we'd be better off just going, like, here. Shaving 2 of them off like that. And then going... Why not let's just go with an Earthing Rod for 5 points. Perfect. I think that would do nicely. But it's fun. I like the concept of a full Night Goblin horde. It's funny. Oh, got my stream lights on as well. I forgot I could turn those off since the camera stopped working. This is brilliant. I'm just sort of leaning back in my chair. I'm maxing. I'm relaxing. I'm acting all cool. About to shoot some b-ball on stream. That's how that works. Cool. Cool. Full-time old worlder, go. I am a full-time old worlder. It's terrifying. It's fun. But it's weird to not have the normal sort of security blankets in place. I shouldn't complain though. I'm lucky in that worst comes to worst, I could lean on my family, I think, and have a little bit of wiggle room. He could be naked behind that pic, and we would never know. Nah, it's not warm enough. Let's have a look at Villivoog's Lizardmen Renegades. This is 2,500 points. So this is a lot of Lizardmen. And I like this list in general. I think this is pretty close to what I think the optimal list would be for a Lizardmen player, if you're playing Renegades. So we've got a BSB General Slan, because that's just a thing. -1 to be hit, really nice. High magic. I don't like high magic. I understand Walk Between Worlds is good. I don't think you should go high magic. I think it's probably elementalism. That feels like the best lore in my mind. Double Power Scroll's really good, even with the change in lore, and then Cupped Hands are the old one. This is just fun. I don't know that you need it, but you've got power scrolls, so you're more likely to miscast. So I'm not opposed to comboing 2 power scrolls with the Cupped Hands, the old one. That is fun. Double Stegodon with the Ancient of the Gods. Ancient of the Gods is pretty solid. You know, it's only a 15-inch range magic missile, but a couple of fireballs at bound spell level 3 is really solid. You know, that's pretty fun. Oh, thanks for the kind words, Cthulhu. I got distracted by looking at Lizardmen. The Temple Guard. This is where I would make a change. Just for the sake of 5 points, let's change the Spell Eater Axe, because you've already got an AP1 hand weapon anyway, and it stops you from using the halberd if you wanted to go down the line. Let's just go double Obsidian Lodestone. Is it worth the 5 points? Probably. And then I'd say Charmed Shield as well. So we're spending plus 10 points here, but I think this just makes the unit champion very slightly more efficient. Skinks, 3 into 15, one of them with Vanguard. Cool, yeah, love it. I wouldn't be opposed to having a second one with Vanguard as well, since you can do it. And then we've got the Ripperdactyls as well, which is... they're an interesting unit. I don't hate them. They are 2 attacks on the actual Ripperdactyls at strength 4, and they've got... do they not have... Oh no, they've got Cleaving Blow, of course. I was combining them with another... I think I was combining them with Warhawks in my head. So these things don't do a lot, but they are mobile, and they can threaten, so I'm interested to see how they go. The Toad Rage as well is interesting, because it gives you like Pseudo Frenzy, gives you an extra attacks 1 and reroll natural hit rolls of 1 against a unit that you declare at the start of the game. I think that's an interesting unit. This is, for me, the unit that comes out, but also, like, it feels like the pet unit that probably stays in terms of what you're getting out of it, you know? Double Steg is excessive, you only need 1 for +1 to cast. That is true, but also, like, Stegodons are still decent. So they're a T6, Strength 6, T6, 5 wounds, they've got, you know, D6 stomps, or, sorry, D3 plus 2 stomps, which is better. The attacks are pretty poor, but they're just like an all-round okay unit, I think. Having played against, like, Steg spam before, you know, in the early days of Old World, I think it's... I respect them as a unit. I don't hate them at all. Probably just going to knock one of these off to get us to a legal points limit. You know, 23 instead of 24 doesn't make a real difference. And then this veteran, just in the Death Star. Hell yeah, love that. Great weapon. Just 4 attacks base on a hero level character is wild. Plus Furious Charge. I know it's only weapon skill 5, but it's really funny. I'd almost be tempted to go with a Paymaster's Coin, but I'm not sure it's necessary. POR, Plague of Rust. Yeah, there is a level 2 Skink Priest here. Previously, when this was a high magic caster, I think this made more sense. But I also don't hate a second chance of elementalism for Plague of Rust with Power Scroll. I think that's fine. And then we've got Magic Resist 2, 3-up armor save on the Saurus. I think I like Meteoric Iron more than Silvered Steel, because all the things that are actually going to worry this character are going to be AP2 or better, realistically. So you may as well just go for always on 5-up. You're not worried about, like, high volume of poison shooting anymore. So I think I just like the Meteoric Iron more, personally. And it does shave us 20 points, so in fact this can go back up to 24. And someone can get a Charmed Shield. Probably this boy. If you have to tank a dragon and your unit champion's dead, I'm not upset at seeing the Scar Veteran take that role on. But yeah, something like this. I think this is a good list. I like the choices you've made. It's a lot of fun, and it's a big, scary Death Star. I actually think that it's not... Lizardmen are not bad now. Like, they score really well. With the Skinks, like, as many wounds as you get for 80 points with how evasive they are. Yeah, with a 5-up save. They are, you know, T2, but ignoring that, they're still decent. Meteoric is the best armor for him. Having a 5-up versus shooting is great. Cannon shooter. Yes, yeah, absolutely. I think prior to the 1.5 nerfs, I could have been swayed for Meteoric Iron to be better against the poison shooting, but now it's definitely, in my mind, Meteoric Iron. Okay. We've got Bren's vampire counts. And I'm not saying this to be reductive, this is one of the vampire counts listed full time, but it's got fun stuff in. Hell yeah. No banshees, blood knights, and a vampire. So I'm immediately on board with this list. We've got a level 4 wizard who is on a mortis engine. Dark magic is spicy. I prefer necromancy, but I guess we're not leaning into the scream, so it's got less value. Battle magic is not bad, and we've got Talisman of Protection, Spell Familiar, Scepter of Tenoro. So double res, 5th spell known, and a 5 Ward's Aid. I think I'm still leaning towards a Crown of the Damned, and I know that it's inherently a little bit risky, but I just think that if you don't go for Crown of the Damned, where is it? There we go. I think it's too easy to shoot you off the board, and I really worry about that when it's your general. We've got the Vampire Count as well, who... Isn't the Vampire Count... I thought they went up in leadership. Oh, this isn't Renegades. Cool. So, Vampire Count is level 2 wizard on a nightmare. Lore Familiar, Sword of Kings. Master of the Black Arts, Lord of the Night. Okay, I need to remind myself. So, Lord of the Night is good again, rezzing the bats, right? Yeah, so that rezzes bats and dogs. Cool. On board with that. There are bats in this list. Makes it a level 3 wizard. That makes sense. It's an illusion Sword of Kings character. I think this is fun. I like this. This is not too far out of what Pip, who has been on the channel to talk about Lizardmen, has been playing around with. Spectral Doppelganger with this weapon is very funny. 5s or 6s for killing blows. This is very good into infantry and cavalry characters, which we are seeing more of, so I'm not against this. And then we've got the White Lord, BSB, Stand of Hellish Vigor. I probably... I guess it opens up... Yeah, okay. Because that is the only unit that really needs reserve move. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on board with that. Then we've got Shield on foot. Cool. So going with the Graveguard. Graveguard, full command, Drakenhof banner. I'd like to see magic resist on the unit as well, actually. Bat Swarms are cool. Fellbats are cool. Blood Knights with the Rampaging banner. This is where I like Rampaging banner. On, like, you know, fast, heavy cavalry. They're movement 7, so they've got a decent charge range. I just like to see this unit getting in and doing damage, so this is fine. And I'm also okay with not seeing them have a musician. They have drilled, and they should be winning combat significantly. How do you keep the Blood Knights alive through this list? I think the Necromancer probably has to move up with them. Honestly, this feels like a full send list in that the Graveguard are not playing defensively. It feels like you push everything together. I think that's probably the way that it plays. But yeah, a second Necromancer with the Blood Knights would make sense. I like this list. Obviously, it's missing some of the competitive pieces. Second Necromancer, 2 Banshees. Doesn't have any ethereal units in the way that, you know, that can just auto-win you some games. But Vampire Counts are so good that you don't really need those to still bring a decent list. And I like the choices that are made here. This still feels like a good list while also being competitive. I am going to say we're going to put Musician into this list. And we're going to drop a Graveguard. And that takes us to exactly 2,000 points. I like Musicians because, yeah, sure. Like, it doesn't really matter if you lose by 1, because then you just get pushed back, yada yada. But what if instead of tying, you just won, and your opponent had to take a break test? I've lost dragons prior to 1.5, but also, you know, this matters in 1.5 because it's very easy for you to tie or win consistently with infantry. I have definitely lost dragons to failing leadership tests, to bricks of undead infantry that did have musicians, and then rolling like an 11 on my break test and like a 4 on my flee. And it's super sad, and it's not super likely, but also just give yourself the extra vector to win. I think for the sake of 6 points, I really like musicians and undead. But yeah, I think this is a fun list. I like it, Brent. And I hope you enjoy playing it. I'm thinking for my 4th list of the year, it may well be, you know, let's go undead. I've got a bit of, like, a really fun bit of content in mind and a potential sponsorship to go with it, which I need to send an email out for. But it's not something that I'll be doing for like 3 or 4 months. So I don't want to go off too half-cocked. I want to still like do the Bretonnians. I want to enjoy doing the Bretonnians. I want to put a lot of effort into them, so I don't want to half-arse it. And that takes us to my favourite, my absolute favourite, Heralds of Darkness. So I get to talk, I get to wax lyrical about my favourite chariots, and they are so fun. So this list has got Double Chosen Chariot in rare, and these are very expensive. Like they have a T5 and a 3-up save. I always worry that this few wounds is just going to get punked, and maybe that's just coming from 40k instead of Old World, but like, it's good as long as it doesn't die before it gets there, you know? So, yeah. And I've got more space to believe in it, given that this has countercharge. So it's harder for people to abuse your chariots if they're chosen chariots. So, like those are good. Then we've got a normal chariot, Marcus Lanesh here. That's fine. I don't know that it needs to be here, honestly, but it's kind of whatever. This Exalted Champion unfortunately can't be Marcus Lanesh because you have to pay for the chariot and the unit to be Marcus Lanesh, so it has to be undivided. We don't have enough points to make it both, unless we make some other cuts, but we can come back to that. Just while we were talking about chariots. Then we've got Double Aspiring Champion, and then Chaos Lord. Chaos Lord is on a horse, and then we've got champions on chariots with a 3-up, 5-up, which is pretty, like, that's enough, that's fine. And then we've got the Sorcerer on chariot as well. I think I'd probably just go Chaos Steed for this character. I think having it on a chariot is too exposed, unfortunately. And I'd also maybe be tempted to play around with something in terms of, like, maybe even Infernal Puppet. I know it's mostly just here to be, like, a Dispel bot, and putting Infernal Puppet on there as well, I think probably makes it more scary in terms of turning off your opponent's casting. You could definitely not do that. It wouldn't be wrong to not do that, but I think I like going down this line here. It does open up some extra points for us as well, although it's hard to use those. We'll talk about that in a sec, because I'd like to give both of these regen, but we are a little shy in points for that. Chaos Lord, Nurgle, Steed, Ogre Blade, 2 favors, Enchanting Aura. It's good, like, it's really good. But what if we found a way to shave some points somehow? Like, maybe we don't go Nurgle. How many points more do we need? We need 12 points somewhere. Okay. I'm going to see if we can shave 12 points somewhere. Let's do this the easy way. So I'm going to put the regen on them. And I don't know if this is necessary, but I just really like the triple saves on these. I think they're so hard to deal with if you go for that. And we're 10 points over. Okay, we're 10 points over, so that's all we need to shave. How do we shave 10 points? I think it's got to be Infernal Puppet's got to go, right? It was a nice idea, but we can just take it off. At which point this can have Mark and Nurgle back. Oh, we got 25 points available. That's, you know, baby, we got a stew cooking. These 2 chariots with halberds is perfect, because obviously you want the initiative bonus. Halberds are better now as well. Like, being on the counter charge, strength 5, AP 2, armor bane 1 is just really, really okay. It's very solid. I wouldn't be upset to upgrade these to Exalted Champions, you know. But it's hard to do. We don't have the points for it. I'd love to upgrade this to Sorcerer Lord as well, but we definitely don't have the points. 105 points to fit that in. Yeah, so I think that's good. This chariot, I think, can just be undivided. I don't know that it needs to be Slanesh. I'm not sure that's adding much to it. We've got the Chaos Knights here, 11 of them, full command, Brazen Collar Charm Shield. You know I like it. I am concerned about Mark and Nurgle here, because there's no BSB. Again, I just go Mark of Chaos Undivided. I think that's safer. And I don't think they actually get much added from the Mark and Nurgle, personally. Warhounds, I wouldn't be bothering with the poison attacks and the 7. I think that was just to fill points, but like, I'd just go 2 units here. Let's go 2 units of 5 Warhounds, because we've freed up some extra points. Then we've got the Marauder Horseman, Unit Champion Musician, Cav Spears, Light Armor, Shields, Throwing Axes, Undivided. I think this is fine. This is like a solid unit. I like this for scoring. We then have the 2 chariots here. So that just leaves us with... Oh, That's why there's Slanesh on the chariot, because you had it on the champion, the sorcerer here. We do have to go an actual Nurgle unit, don't we? So I'm just going to make this chariot Nurgle, because we've got the Chaos Lord, who is Nurgle, and I think that's worth having, but I don't think it's worth having on the Chaos Knights, so by doing it this way, we're just protecting ourselves a little bit from leadership shenanigans. We've still got 29 points left to spend, and that to me says one more Chaos Knight. And I think this is kind of it. I would maybe play around with... hold on, let me shave this one over before I start messing around with it. So, at Wrath, who said, I hope my list doesn't get nerfed by balloons, which is very funny and very sad. If Heralds of Darkness chariots get nerfed because Cathay chariots get nerfed, I will be a sad, sad boy. But, let's have a look. Heralds of Darkness. So if you to go character-wise, I think I like going like Chaos Lord, Exalted Champion, Sorcerer Lord, and go like probably Steed for the Chaos Lord. Oh, that's the problem, isn't it? Previously I was running it on double like chariot on the Lord, but I think the Lord needs to be on a Steed so he can actually do things. Alright, my point is immediately fizzled. I have no more thoughts on this matter. Good day, sir. I said good day. But yeah, that takes us to the end of another Fix My List. Some interesting stuff in here. I'm liking, and I think I said this last week as well, but I'm liking where we're at in terms of 1.5, where people are still putting weird and wacky and wonderful stuff into their lists. And not all of it needs to be tweaked. Like, a lot of it I'm seeing that I hadn't considered as well, which is really cool. So, big fan of the list we've got here. 7 past 10. Not too bad. Not too bad. Even with my camera issues, managed to do decently well there. But hope you all have a fantastic weekend. I am going to be building some more Pegasus Knights tomorrow. That's going to be my goal. Just vibe, build some Pegasus Knights, do some tidying. I want to get the treadmill that I bought a couple of weeks ago. I'm like 90% of the way there on the tidying. I just need to do the last 10%. Get the treadmill in here so I can start walking while I'm doing coaching, which will be good. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, building some Pegasus Knights. I've got a game in person on Sunday morning. That'll be good. Then I've got another game on Sunday evening online, and back into it next week. You know, try and get some more Team England coaching booked in. Ideally, that would be lovely stuff. Yeah, you too, Richard. Hope you have a good weekend. Hope it's great for all of you. Ah, nice. You got a tournament, Daniel. Hope it goes well for you. I think you may have mentioned that in your list, actually. I thought you said you were playing against dwarves, but I may be talking out of my backside. Thank you for turning up, Vesper. As always, these Friday streams are my favourite. I love getting to just sit and chat with you lot while doing it around the lens of also talking about Warhammer lists. Stream interaction and old world list building, two of my favourite things, and I get to do them both at the same time, which is fun. Cool. Well, I'm going to call it there, and I'm going to maybe even get an early night. He lied to himself.